Hello learners, we have begun another week again. As you all know, learning is a process, so we cannot sit down without learning. For that matter, I have come today for us to learn new topic in mathematics. Before we continue with today's activities, I wish we could revise the previous lessons. Last time we learned fractions, and our specific objective was to add like fractions, and we have learned that to add fractions there are three simple steps. The step 1, we said we should make sure that the bottom numbers, which are the denominators, are the same. Step 2, we have also said that we should add the top numbers. I'm referring to the numerators. Put that answer over the denominator. Then step 3, simplify the fractions if needed. Simplify what? The fraction if needed. So that is what we have learned last time. After that, we have also learned some of the equivalent fractions. We have learned how to add mixed fraction and like fractions. Today we are going to learn another thing about fractions. So our topic remains the same, that is fractions. Our topic is still fractions. But what are we expected to know today? What are we learning? Today we are to learn how to subtract, like fractions. So we are learning the subtraction of like fractions. Objective, the specific thing I want you to know today is to be able to subtract fractions. Okay, so which type of fraction are we dealing with today? Only like fractions. And we have learned last time that like fractions are those that are having the same denominators, even though the numerators may be different from one another. Okay, as far as the denominators are the same, we call them like fractions. So how are we going to perform subtraction with these fractions? Let's go. Subtraction of like fractions. As we said about the the addition, the same thing will happen over here, but just that the operation will be different. To subtract fractions, there are 3 steps. Step 1, make sure the bottom numbers, which are the denominators, are the same. Step 2, find the difference between the numbers at the top, which are the numerators rather. Put that answer over the denominator. Step 3, simplify the fraction if needed. Always your answer the fraction must be in the simplest form. Okay, so whenever you get big numbers, check whether it is divisible. If it is divisible by a number that can go into the numerators at the same time the denominators, then you must go ahead and simplify it. Thank you. So we are going to base on these steps today and do about 3 activities, so that at the end of the day you also practice this in your homes. Let's go. Activity number 1. Activity number 1 is saying that we should solve 15 out of 23 minus 9 out of 23. Let's look at this quickly. 15 out of 23. 15 out of 23 minus 9 out of 23. Our rule number 1, or step number 1, they said we should make sure the denominators are the same. Since the denominators are the same already over here, we don't have problem. So we just go ahead to step 2. Step 2 is saying that we should do the difference. Okay, we should find the difference of the numerators. So which is, our numerators here are 15. Our numerators over here are 15 and then 9. So keep the denominator. That's all. So what do we get? When we do 15 minus 9, our answer will be what? 6. You did very well. Now the 23 will remain there. Now when you finish your work, check whether it will be simplified. So check whether there's a number that when I divide the top by that number and divide the bottom by the same number, I will still get some whole numbers. So looking at this, there's nothing that can go into 6 at the same time goes into 23. So that is the answer they are expecting from you. If you do this, you get this. Bravo. Thank you for the first activity. Now what we just explained, here is it. You see it. Now let's move to the next activity. Today's lesson will be very quick. Why? Because we have learned the same procedures in using addition operation. So now with subtraction, so it's the same strategies. Look at how the question can also be asked. Find the difference between 9 out of 21 and 2 out of 21. Find the difference between 9 out of 21 and 2 out of 21. This one to the same procedure. The difference is the same as subtraction. 9 out of 21 minus 2 out of 21. What will it give me? They say we should, since the denominators are the same, we will keep it. We will not touch the denominator. Then what do we do to the top? We find the difference. We've seen it. The next thing is to do this calculation. 9 minus 2 will give me what? 7 over what? 21, or 7 out of 21. Learners, let's look at this fraction very well. Is it possible to simplify it? If yes, which number will go into 7 at the same time go into 21? Very good. If your answer is 7, you did very well. So we are going to divide 7 by 7. Then we'll get to 1. And then we'll divide 21 also by 7. We'll get what? 3. Meaning my final answer will be 1/3. My final answer will be 1/3. Then you say therefore, okay, 9 over 21 minus 2 over 21 equals what? 1/3. Well done. Also, what we have learned right now is what you are seeing on the screen. Nice one. Let's move to the activity number 3. Activity number 3 is saying that we should subtract 7 out of 15 from 10 out of 15. Are you checking the question very well? Understanding of the question is very important. It's the most important thing when solving mathematics or solving any question. Whenever you are facing a question, understand the instruction very well before you start. Subtract 7 out of 15. It means we are taking this out of this, meaning in my solution, I'll have 10 over 15, okay, minus 7 over 15, because they say I should take away 7 out of 15 from 10 out of 15. Then, since they have the same denominators, we don't have problem. We are just keeping our denominator, and then we perform the difference or the subtraction at the top. 10 minus 7, okay, 10 minus 7. The next thing is to find what this one will give us. What do you think 10 minus 7 will give us? Nice one. It will give us 3. 3 over 15. Class, will you leave your answer like that? Will you leave your answer like this? 3 over 15. Check it well. Is that the simplest form? If your answer is no, then what do we do? This is not the simplest form. So we can see that 3 can enter into 15, can go into 15. Meaning we can divide the top by 3 and divide the bottom also by 3. Dividing the top by 3 will get to 1. Dividing the bottom by 3 will get to what? 5. So that will be our final answer. 1 out of 5. Therefore, I'm having 10 out of 15 minus 7 out of 15 will give me 1 out of 5. Congrats, you did very well. You did very well. This is what we have explained, we have learned right now. Congratulations, you did very well to arrive to this at this level of the lesson. Class, what have you learned today? Today we have learned how to do subtraction of what? Like fractions. Okay, we have said that in subtracting like fractions, we keep the denominators and we do the difference between, we find the difference between the numerators, which are the top numbers. After that, we check whether our number can be what? Simplified. Our fraction can be simplified. If yes, then we simplify it. If not, we keep our answer like that. And in our activities, we have said that we should be careful. We should check the question very well before we start answering. They can say solve for, and then maybe you have a fraction minus a fraction. That one is straight. Sometimes they can say find the difference between. Difference is the same as what? Subtraction. Then another one is the tricky one is subtract, then they'll mention a fraction from another fraction. So be careful with that statement. The one that they say subtract 2 out of 5, for instance, from 3 out of 5, it means the 2 will be the one we are taking away from the second one. Thank you very much for following from the beginning to the end of this lesson. In our next lesson, we will still continue with the subtraction, but that time around we will be using mixed and like fractions. Revise your lessons very well. Revise your lesson on equivalent fraction and mixed fraction, and then at the same time like fraction. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Stay safe. You will do this assignment for me, okay, so that next time we can build up.